What could be the holdup for Jack Eichel's contract extension? Does Eichel want more money? Does VGK want less term? Something's up. Something's got to be the holdup right there. We'll talk about it next, right here on Lockdown Golden Knights.
Your Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hi again, everyone. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe to our Lockdown Golden Knights YouTube channel. I am a longtime sportscaster. I am a marketing consultant and the host of the new Believe in Vegas podcast with a new episode coming out today. And Chris is the owner of Silver State Cards and Sports and the collectibles editor for the Hockey News. Coming up ahead on today's show, we'll talk about, of course, what the holdup might be for an Eichel extension, Hertl's importance level. Of course, Tomas Hertl, his role probably will be expanding some this upcoming season. And the biggest concern, besides defense or goaltending, you threw defense in there. You threw me for a loop with VGK for this upcoming season. We are brought to you today by Monarch Money. Use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You'll get 50% off of your first year at monarchmoney.com. Shouldn't Kelly McCrimmon have shown up at Jack Eichel's wedding this past weekend? Congrats to Jack and, of course, to his new bride with a new 8-year contract extension. Maybe the contract right there, bring it to the wedding or something. I didn't even see, you know what? I didn't see McCrimmon.
It might have been in his best interest to sign that before the wedding. Just throwing that out there.
I did not see McCrimmon on Instagram doing the chicken dance or anything like that. So I don't even know if he went to the wedding. In any event, we have to recall that McCrimmon was saying that he hopes VGK and the Eichel camp, right? Remember, they need to find common ground and you need to keep Jack Eichel as a Golden Knight. McCrimmon called signing Eichel to an extension an important order of business. And I can't help but think that there's something holding up this contract extension. Either it's the amount of AAV that Eichel wants, or it is the term. Are we sure that VGK isn't wrangling over term, or there's something amiss?
I don't think you trade for Eichel 3-4 years ago now with anything less than coming in 2025, the fact that Eichel's going to get a max 8-year extension, number one. So I don't think term is going to be an issue. There's two things right now, right? It could be both sides know this is going to be an easy deal and they're enjoying their summers. They're not sweating this. They'll work it out over a BLT up in the City National Employee Dining Room, and it'll be all done nice and easy. Or the other side of this is maybe there is a little something going. And honestly, I don't think VGK is going to offer Jack anything less than somewhere between 12.5 and 13 million AAV. Does Eichel want 13.5 to 14 million AAV? That's probably the biggest question that a lot of people are wondering right now. And the hope is sometime in mid-September when everyone's face-to-face with a lot more regularity, this just takes care of itself very, very quickly. If it doesn't take care of itself come about halfway through training camp or before the regular season starts, then something is definitely up. This should not be that difficult of a deal to work out.
It's been about a month into negotiations, right? And we
42 days, July 1st, technically.
Okay, so 42 days. Wow. So over a month. Are we going to see something done at the 11th hour with a 12:02 a.m. news dump?
Like we'll find going into July 30th next year, you talking, or just one random night? It just
11th hour. Yeah, no, 11th hour. Like it has to be done at early in the season at the very, very latest if they don't do it in advance, right? Because you just don't want that hanging over this franchise because they've made some great strides in getting Mitch Marner over the summer. So for Jack Eichel, I think it's Something's holding it up though, because why wouldn't they have announced it now, 40 some odd days in? And I'm just, the concern level I think is starting to go up. Although, in all fairness, Jack Eichel hasn't been in town, I guess. So once he comes back, then they can actually meet face to face and hammer this out.
Which is why I was hoping the softball game, that was the first checkpoint as far as Jack Eichel's contract is concerned. We don't know where Kelly McCrimmon was during that, and if this even needs to be a face-to-face thing, I don't know. Something else, and I think this is passive, but it's also noteworthy. You have a lot of free agents coming up after the 2025-26 season, assuming extensions don't come out sooner. McDavid, current cap hit 12.5. Kaprizov, current cap hit $9 million. Kyle Connor, current cap hit 7.1. Panarin, 11.6. Kempe, 4.5. Marty Natchez, 6.5, so on and so forth. So while McDavid, I think, is an outlier in the sense that no one is going to say, okay, McDavid got $15.5 million AAV. That means I'm worth this. I don't think that is the case at all. I don't think McDavid has a comparable in the NHL. Maybe McKinnon, maybe, but whatever. Outside of McDavid, okay, maybe Kaprizov's contract is a little bit closer, even Panarin. Like, these are some of the things that will possibly be weighed. I don't think, though, it's about, I don't want to be the first one to set the market because I'm leaving money on the table. I don't think this is a case of that as well. But to be fair, if McDavid hasn't extended and some of these other big names haven't extended, is this really that big of a deal right now? Maybe. Is it hopefully a non-starter because a month from now or a month and a half from now, Eichel's 8-year, $12.5 million AV deal gets announced? That's the goal. That's the hope.
Out of town people might be asking, should Eichel make more money than Mitch Marner? What is the argument here? It's a loyalty play for VGK, correct? And then again, this could be a very long season if they don't get it done early on in the campaign, because then you have all sorts of things going on. But why should Eichel make he's got the cup, crying out loud. Marner has a lot more firepower, better statistics, on and on here. Why should Eichel make more money than Mitch Marner? It's a big question.
It's Eichel's team. I think that's what this comes down to. This
It's
is
a
Jack
loyalty
Eichel's
play.
team.
It's a loyalty play.
Yeah, no, Jack, exactly. This is Jack Eichel's team. Yes, Mark Stone is the captain. Mark Stone has the first voice as far as the players are concerned. Yes, Jack Eichel has the cup. Yes, you look at the parallels between Eichel and Marner, what they both went through. Eichel has lived it as far as leaving Buffalo, leaving a strange situation, putting it very mildly, and turning it into a positive. Mitch Marner, similar, yes, not similar. Marner's time as a Leaf was probably a little cleaner, if you will, than what Jack Eichel went through, but it certainly took a turn the last half season, and of course in the offseason when Mitch Marner was traded to the Vegas Golden Knights. In a vacuum, is Jack Eichel worth more money than Mitch Marner? I guess that's a fair argument.
Big question. Yeah, it's an argument. I think it's fair.
If every player were to become a free agent right now, no ties to any certain team, and we're simply throwing a dollar value out there, I think the two are probably within 3 or 4% of each other. I don't know if centers have a better premium than right wingers. I mean, that might have something to do with it as well. I know we're talking two very special and unique talents in themselves. They're both great two-way players. Mitch Marner's, like you said, his stats have been a little bit better than Jack's, but you also had, I talked about the amount of goals and the firepower that Austin Matthews brings, that Mitch Marner has had around him, and William Nylander and John Tavares and Matthew Nyes recently.
Core for it.
Jack Eichel hasn't necessarily had that same type of firepower around him, impacting his stats a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question there. If you flip the switch and Eichel went to Toronto, all things like even there, you have the same amount of cap space and what have you. Would Eichel get paid more money on, going, or if you reversed it, if he goes to Toronto instead of Marner coming here?
I think Jack gets $1 million or less, but he definitely gets more AAV than Mitch Marner, but it's really close.
Laying in the weeds, my Rangers and also the Boston Bruins. They're attacking, man. They want Jack Eichel too. Coming up next, what is
segue
the
was gonna be there.
importance of Tomas Hertl this upcoming season? He's going to have to play a pivotal role for VGK, and we'll discuss it next right here on Locked On Golden Knights. You just realized that your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? And it's easy if you go to Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling with your job post on other sites. It's not going to work because Indeed has sponsored jobs, and it puts your post at the top of the page, and it helps you to reach the right candidates and faster. And I've been in a spot where I've needed to hire someone like yesterday. The pressure's on, and each and every day, without the right person, it's a total setback. And that's exactly what Indeed's sponsored jobs come in handy. That's when it comes in handy. And they can make sure that your post is seen by the right candidates and right now. So now you can speed up your hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show, Locked On Golden Knights, by saying that you heard about it right here on this very podcast. Again, you can speed up the hiring process with a $75 sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com right now /lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. If you're hiring, Indeed is all you need. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Nice day yesterday. Went to UNLV football practice at
hot.
Raiders HQ. No, it was at Raiders HQ indoors.
You said nice day. I'm just commenting on the weather. I'm sure it was nice to get to the practice, but it was hot yesterday.
Yes, that's why it was good to be indoors, air conditioned. It was beautiful. So UNLV getting ready to kick off here a week from Saturday already. College football and football season is here. Crazy, right?
Regular season is like NFL is what? Geez.
I know. And I'll be back doing the Raider games again there. So for Infinity Sports Network reporting up in the booth, Tomas Hertl. He won't be reporting from the booth. He will probably have an expanded role this upcoming season, especially if Bruce Cassidy puts Mitch Marner on the second line with him. It's most assuredly something that we will see coming up when Jack Eichel and Marner are split. And we know that we've got Hertl's skill set, I should say. He's very strong on the puck, very good face-off man. He improved his net front presence this past season, which we saw, which made a huge difference. And 14 of his 32 goals were on the power play. So what would you say about his expanded role? He's probably going to have to shoot more, but he's also going to be setting up big screens for the likes of Mitch Marner in front of the net. How are those two going to work things out, coexist on the same line when apparently I think first they might want to pass first, but this new design of the offense, which you haven't seen yet, is to shoot the puck, put more pucks on net.
It's funny you said the power play goals. I was highlighting his 18 even strength goals in my opening monologue here about Hertl and everything. Talked about Austin Matthews a lot the last couple of shows. Austin Matthews is at 69 and 60 goals with being on a line most of that time, of course, with Mitch Marner. That makes you wonder if Eichel, Tomas Hertl, William Karlsson can develop an increased scoring touch as a result of some open ice that Mitch Marner is hopefully going to create for them. You talked about Tomas Hertl and his 14 power play goals, his 18 even strength goals. Both those numbers, especially the even strength goals, should hopefully improve a little bit. Net front presence, we can go on and on about that. Locker room presence, Hertl is going to be quite comfortable coming into his second full season as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. And it's really nice. I mean, we were concerned a couple seasons ago when when the like Tomas Hertl, it's exciting. Here's Tomas Hertl, and then his contract he's signed through the year 2030. Okay, but the Sharks are going to hold on to what about 20% of that salary. So the Golden Knights are only on the hook for $6.7 million of Tomas Hertl's contract for the next 5 seasons, however long that's going to last. And the fact that we're talking about a 30-goal scorer, excellent player on the power play, excellent locker room presence, and you look to see what the next level is for Tomas Hertl.
Yeah, and would you agree with me that
No, I
Hertl
would not agree with you, but you can finish the statement if you'd like.
Hertl's a glue guy? Hertl is an absolute glue guy when you think about it, right? His role will be as a glue guy for this team for the top 6. Yes.
Glue, yeah, no, I mean, listen, glue guy, I look more. That's more of a term that's kind of reserved for the third line grinder types and
No, that's
the
gorilla
Colasars of the
glue.
world
That's
and
the
everything. But I
gorilla
understand where you're
glue.
going with that. Yes.
Gorilla
Um,
glue. No, I'm talking regular glue like Elmer's.
Okay, I got you. I understand. No, listen, I'm with you, and I get what you're saying. Great for the locker room, and that's where you're going with that. And
Glue
Hurdle is the
guy.
type of player who can, crack a joke in a sensitive moment in a game when the players are a little nervous on the bench, and can even say a little something to Coach Cassidy to take the edge off and things like that. So, from that perspective, and just his simple presence and attitude and everything that he brings, sure, I'll certainly say he's a glue guy. On top of the fact that he's going to be, hopefully the second or third or even top scorer on this team should he, pot 35 goals plus this season.
I'm talking about like on the ice, a guy that keeps things together because
Yeah.
his role is going to be so important, especially with the addition of Mitch Marner. And Hertl and Marner can run a lot of plays, but it's just a matter of how Cassidy is going to utilize those two. And I think that's the interesting dynamic and something that I want to see how it starts to develop early on in the season, chemistry and everything else.
It's funny you mentioned that as we come up to our biggest concern besides defense and goaltending for the next season. Some notes I already got going right there. But yes, those are all very valid questions. How is Cassidy going to handle all of this? And something else we're talking about outside of Hertl is about where Mitch Marner is going to fit. Is Hertl the right fit for him, or is it William Karlsson, or is it Jack Eichel? And Hertl, I'm assuming, is going to want Mitch Marner on his wing. Hertl's going to, it'd be nice to have a 60 assist guy, feeding you passes all day after a season after you put up 32 goals. So that would certainly be very advantageous for Mitch Marner or for Tomas Hertl. And you wonder, what is Hertl's mindset coming into the camp, knowing this team has Mitch Marner? Does that change anything? Does that change, it's going to make him more excited? Sure. Does that change the way he approaches the offseason? Does it change the way he approaches his game? Or is it all systems go? It doesn't matter who's on his wing, whether it's a Barbashev, whether it's a Dorofeev, whether it's a Mitch Marner, Mark Stone, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Who does play on that second line if it's Marner on the wing on the right side, Hertl centering? Do we see Dorofeev? He would be benefiting greatly playing on a line with those two.
Yeah, I mean, Dorofeev seems to make the most sense, and then you keep the top line intact, of course, with Mark Stone, Jack Eichel, and Ivan Barbashev.
You
Ivan
think Barbashev
Barbashev,
on the top line, Barbashev. That's interesting.
that the top line for the first like 20 or so games of Barbashev, Stone, and Eichel was the best line in hockey, or one of the best 2 or 3 lines in the NHL. So, that's why I think that's, you run with that, and then you see where Mitch Marner can make the other players better and get the most out of them.
Tomas Hertl will play about 17 minutes a game, had his third best career shot volume with 177 shots on goal. I look for that number to expand. And he also had 3 game-winning goals this last season and a 2-time All-Star, which I think folks don't remember very much.
Only a 2-time All-Star?
I think that's pretty good. More.
Yeah,
Hey,
2 All-Star, 37 Lady Bing votes in 2018, 2019, and
we don't like
14
that
points
award.
for the Calder in 2013-14. So
You
there you
don't
go.
like draft picks. I don't like the Lady Bing. Coming up next, what is the biggest concern besides defense and goaltending? I set up everything about defense stinking. We'll talk about it next, right here on Lockdown Golden Knights. Most people cannot name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's a 401k, any 401k properties, again, investments that you have. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's right. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all in one personal finance tool, and it brings your entire financial life together all in one clean, easy to use interface. And you could do it on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch does all the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of all your money. And that's so important. And you can do it without ever touching a spreadsheet. Sick of them. Excel, you bother me. So Monarch makes it simple to review all your finances with your partner as well. And we can both see budgets, goals, and spending activity all in one place. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use that promo code LOCKEDONNHL today at monarchmoney.com. Use your browser for half off of your first year. That's 50% off of your first year. Go to monarchmoney.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL. You will receive 50% off of your first year. Back on this edition of Lockdown Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco, Chris Golick reporting from Las Vegas. Don't forget, Friday is WTF Day, Saturday sometimes. Chris Golick and Taller Chris will have sometimes the Chris and Chris Jr. show. Knows words. That just hit me. That's good. You do know words. That's good. That's a good one. You got me. And you also got me on the topic here because your text to me was something to the effect outside of goaltending, like don't mention goaltending, Dasco. What is the biggest concern for VGK? So I'm like, oh, that's an easy one. I'm going to go with my layup, dude. Again, man, you curved me again. To me, that greatest area of concern isn't like Hertl and Martin. It's the defense. It's VGK's defense. And we've discussed this before.
Read the topic, bro. Besides defense and goaltending.
I know you changed it, though.
Okay.
You curved me, bro.
Good.
I know that you know words, but you also curved me this morning. In the morning, it's the worst thing you can do because I just keep powering through it. So we know about all the turnovers from the defense last year, most by a defender on the team, Noah Hannafin, 112 giveaways. And we also saw a lot of mistakes out of the Golden Knights passengers, the Golden Passengers there defensively. I'm concerned. I'm worried again. Pietrangelo wasn't good this past season. He was sort of mid. But with Pietrangelo gone, you lose his experience. And then you look at Theodore and McNabb on the first pairing. Hannafin and Whitecloud, question marks abound. I'm concerned. And then, of course, you have Jeremy Lauzon and Zach Whitecloud. No, Lauzon and who am I missing? I'm not sold. I'm not sold defensively on VGK. Why not throw Whitecloud twice? Because I'm just a little.
For me, my concerns, number one, just an easy statistical improvement is needed for penalty minutes drawn. The Golden Knights only drew 5.59 penalty minutes per 60 minutes, which was the lowest in the National Hockey League in the 24-25 season. The most penalty minutes drawn were 8.91 per game for the Ottawa Senators. Now, why is this a concern? Well, the Golden Knights power play was pretty darn good last year. More power plays will equal more goals, assuming the power play continues down the same stretch it was. The second concern for me is Coach Cassidy, and particularly in system changes to the system, we're hearing more shots. We're hearing more score. We're hearing different ways to create more scoring volume and such. The Golden Knights were 4th overall in shots for last year. 4th overall. So you want to shoot more all of a sudden? You got people like us saying Eichel needs to shoot more and be more selfish and everything. Well, again, 4th in shots for. And now back to Coach Cassidy. This is different with Mitch Marner coming in. It's not just about finding a place for Mitch Marner, but it's about keeping the locker room together. We're not talking about a glue guy coming into the locker room, a third liner, a fourth liner, a Colton Sissons who, is going to do his thing pretty quietly. Mitch Marner changes the dynamic of a locker room for the good, hopefully. I don't think there's any concerns about his locker room presence unless you ask everybody in Toronto. But Coach Cassidy is going to have to weigh all this. And to Coach Cassidy's credit, he's had plenty of experience with Brad Marchand and Bergeron and Dave Pasternak and so on and so forth as far as multiple superstars in a locker room. So, but again, Cassidy needs to handle all of this.
Yeah, he really does. I was trying to say Caden Korzak's name in there on that bottom pairing, but I'm still asleep. And, one of the concerns for me is the bottom six. You're going to be top heavy on the top six, right? Offensively. I still don't know what they're going to get out of a Brandon Saad. Tanner Pearson played a great role. Don't forget, I think they'll miss him some. You talk about players that are gone that you might be missing a tad. He really came on and played very well for a PTO guy. And then, what does Riley Smith have left in the tank? Legit question. Penalties drawn will go up the longer that Carlson's on the ice because he flops a lot. And then, on that fourth line, I had to get that dig in. Nose words. You have Howden, Sissons. I think Sissons will be solid, and he's consistent too. And then Korzak. The bottom six for VGK to me is definitely a concern.
Colasar, not Korzak on the bottom four.
Did I say?
You got Korzak on your mind now.
I gave him a shout out twice because I just forgot his name. Again, Keegan Kolasar, the burrito guy.
The third line is always one of the most sensitive lines as far as the success of an NHL club. On paper, the Golden Knights have some type of decent third line that's either going to be William Karlsson, Brandon Saad, Riley Smith. Possibly Hertl is down there. Who knows how it's going to shake out. But on paper, the right players there. And Brett Howden as well. Sissons can be fine on the third line too. But again, will you get the most out of the team? And Brandon Saad, just in a vacuum, yes, that is a concern. Riley Smith, no concern. Low AAV, if you get 35 points out of him, while he is having a very responsible defensive game, that's fine. Brandon Saad is not a Riley Smith type of player. What I mean when I say that is Saad is not known for his two-way play. Saad is not known necessarily for his board battles and the defensive structure that the Golden Knights have. Brandon Saad was a great acquisition last year to try and put this team over the top. Unfortunately, it didn't work, and Saad didn't see a lot of the playoffs. And he had an injury as well in there. So maybe just a full season off, full season to, get acclimated with the structure and kind of his fresh start coming into the 25-26 season should hopefully benefit Brandon Saad. But again, if you get 40 points out of Brandon Saad, wonderful. 40 points Brandon Saad, 35 points Riley Smith. And, if Karlsson can get, if he gets back to 30-30, that's great. If it's 55 points with 25 goals, that's a heck of a third line right there. But there's a lot of questions about that third line. Fourth line, not worried, especially if Brett Howden's down there. But that third line, there are questions about the durability, if you will. They're 430-somethings as well.
Yeah, that's a concern. The bottom six, and it would start with that third line. Most of the attention would go on the top line if you put Eichel and Marner together, but then on the top six there, even
which
with Marner.
Helps the third line then in the bottom six as well.
It very much, if those guys those lines will go as Marner and Eichel go. Agreed? They were going, if those two are successful, I think it's going to be a success that trickles down.
If 200-point players are successful, sure, that's a layup. But if they're successful apart from each other, it's better for all four lines.
It's better for all four lines. Yes, they'll all be very balanced. And defensively, can we please sign Rasmus Anderson? Maybe that's put on the napkin.
Perfect.
We appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, especially our everydayers tuning in around the world. We'll be back again Thursday morning, unless that Eichel extension comes through today, right after the show, because they listen.
Tomorrow's
For
a
my
bad
man,
day,
Chris
sure.
Golick, I'm Tony. Golick knows words. For Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. See you tomorrow right here on Thursday, on Locked On Golden Knights. Take care.